Hey guys, my name is Shrish. So if we talk about the best phone under 20,000 when it comes to camera performance, a lot of people would say the POCO X2, and rightfully so because the phone has got a Sony IMX686 camera sensor. It has like a decent post-processing algorithm as well, and overall the images coming out of the POCO X2 are actually really good for that particular price segment. So naturally, when I bought the Oneplus Nord, I thought of putting it against the POCO X2 just to see if the Oneplus Nord can beat the POCO X2 on the basis of post-processing itself. So yeah, this is just it, and let's get started with the video itself. Starting with daylight shots, now more or less I feel both devices perform equally good when it comes to dynamic range. In some cases though, I feel Nord just preserves slightly better details in the shadows, but that's something you can only tell by zooming into the image. But with that said, there are some situations where the dynamic range is totally better on the Nord as compared to the X2. Apart from that, a big difference though between both the phones is in terms of color science. Now, while in my previous video I said that OnePlus Nord pushes just a tad bit of saturated images, I feel that I should take those words back because when I put both of these phones side by side, clearly the Nord is more natural when it comes to colors. Now in terms of details, of course the POCO X2 is going to be better because of the 64 megapixel sensor and also due to the fact that POCO X2 kinda sharpens up the image just a little bit more as compared to the OnePlus Nord. But overall, I feel that when it comes to daylight results from the primary camera, both of these phones are pretty much on the same level. Talking about the ultra-wide angle lens or ultra-wide angle camera, again same story here too. But the dynamic range is just a bit better on the Nord in most cases this time. The detail levels are almost similar, but the problem with POCO X2 is the color shift between the primary lens and the ultra-wide. The color shift is actually quite a lot massive, unlike the OnePlus Nord where the color science more or less stays the same, and that's something I really appreciate. So yes, again when it comes to daylight ultra-wide angle shots, I feel both of these phones are pretty much very similar to each other. But now if you talk about the low light performance, the story is quite a lot different. The OnePlus Nord beats the POCO X2 in almost every scenario. Be it night mode turned on or night mode turned off, Nord does really well. The images coming out from the Nord seem to have better details and they actually do better in terms of colors again. In some images, POCO X2 completely ignores certain colors, like in this case there was a pink color as well in the image, but POCO X2 did its level best to completely ignore that color and turn the entire image blue. On the other end, the OnePlus Nord actually did a good job. But with that said, there were some situations where the POCO X2 did well when it comes to color science under low lighting situations, especially in terms of white balance. Like in this particular image, the image should have been entirely yellow because the lamp was outputting a yellow shade. The POCO X2 kind of got it right to an extent. The OnePlus Nord just turned the entire image whitish, and that's not how it was actually. Then if we talk about portrait mode, now firstly ignore my face. I'm not the kind of person who collects pictures of himself on a phone under portrait mode. Now firstly, the Nord does slightly better when it comes to challenging situations, especially when it comes to exposing the face. I feel that Nord kind of does a good job when it comes to dynamic range altogether under portrait mode. The edge detection seems almost similar on both of these phones, but there is some serious face smoothing happening on the OnePlus Nord. But I know that most people won't really have a problem with that because that for most people is going to be like an advantage when it comes to portrait mode. And also talking about the selfies, the dynamic range is not good on either of these two phones. Similar results again, the POCO X2 seems to saturate the colors a little bit. But yeah, that's about selfies, like not much to talk about. Detail levels and the dynamic range is kind of almost similar on both of these phones. And now if we talk about video side of things, in terms of sharpness at 4K 30 FPS, both of these phones do a good job. Also when it comes to handling exposure as well, the phones seem to be quite close to each other yet again. But of course in terms of stabilization, the Nord is a clear winner for obvious reasons. At 1080p 30 FPS, the Nord also has this super steady mode which makes the footage even more stable. So overall, I feel that while still the OnePlus Nord is slightly better in some cases than the POCO X2, the POCO X2 isn't quite far behind either. Both of these phones for their respective price segments are actually great when it comes to camera performance. So yeah, that's just about that. I hope the video helped you in some way or the other. If it did, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.